Why?
All right, hello and welcome everyone to week 3 of the Artist Way. And before we even start, I'm going to read this because I feel like this caught my eye, and I don't know if I've been paying enough attention to it beforehand. So now it will be a focus. In my book, there's a little caption here that says, "This week you may find you are dealing with unaccompanied bursts of energy and sharp peaks of anger, joy, and grief. You are coming into your power as the illusory hold of your previously accepted limits is shaken. You will be asked to consciously experiment with spiritual open-mindedness." And I have to tell you, that was all of me this week. Like the joy, the grief, the anger, I I was feeling it very intensely. I don't remember what, no, it was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. I was angry all day. And I kept trying to be like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, why am I so angry? And it really was. It was all boundaries. Like when I sat there and I pulled it back again, and it was boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. For me as a mom, it was like, I'm kind of expected to do XYZ for them. And then the lack of respect that's coming back, like I was feeling like a caged bird is kind of what my guides were telling me. And so I kept just trying to be like, okay, and I was trying to write a lot more. And this week I was good about my morning pages. I did my morning pages every day this week. Even if it wasn't the full 3 pages, I did them every day. And so I feel like I was on more on point with the trajectory of this week in terms of how I was feeling. Did anybody else feel like that, or was it just me?
Can you repeat that page? I'm sorry.
How did you feel this week? Did you have emotion or were you pretty level set?
I mean, I read that like the paragraphs about anger and
Mm-hmm.
synchronicity, and I really stopped to think about the whole anger thing and anger fuels and how to manage it, right? Because it was
Mm-hmm.
saying like anger is a basic emotion, right? So we feel
Yep.
it, but it's like, what do we do with it once we are experiencing it or in the thrusts of it? So it's like, I just took some time to think about, how much anger am I really feeling? Is it anger? Is it something else? So I don't know, contemplated that for a while.
I think anger is probably the hardest emotion for me because it's not okay. Like I've decided that anger is not okay. So when I feel angry, I pull up all those spirals of fear, shame, doubt, worry, and it's like a hamster wheel for me. It takes me a while to get off of it. How about you, Julia? Did you have any outbursts or joy, grief, anger?
Nothing that's really coming to mind right now.
So I was just the crazy lady this week. Good, good, good to know. Good to know.
I think there's always more to uncover.
I will say anger is probably a big shadow for me. It is something that I am actively working through, that I'm working on my with my mentor on it. Like it is something that I'm aware of because there's so many responsibilities and shoulds and things like that that I'm trying to work through in terms of really figuring out who I'm becoming. And so the anger used to be something I was very ashamed of, and I wouldn't talk about it and I would push it down. And if I had outbursts, it was just around my family, and then I would
Mhm.
feel even worse. But now, as I'm kind of coming to anger as a messenger, for me, it is helping me because I am starting, like when I feel anger, I'd be like, okay, what is the boundary? Because I know it's always, always, always connected to my childhood for me because I wasn't allowed to have boundaries and I didn't feel safe to have boundaries. And so when as an adult, when I feel anger, it's always because a boundary was crossed that I didn't know how to set the boundary for it. So then I have to backtrack and figure how can I set the boundary for that so it doesn't happen again. So this week for me with the drop-offs and the pickups and the scheduling, I had to make some boundaries for my husband. I was like, I can't drop the kids off every day at school. I just can't. I was like, you have to take a couple days a week because I need a couple days, mornings to myself to clean or to go for a walk or other things. And it was simple. He's like, okay, no big deal. But like I kept, doing the 5 day drop-offs and taking care of it and feeling responsible and then getting stressed and then it's growing and it's building until, the kids are late one day and I'm screaming and yelling and then going, why? Why is this day so different than any other day? Because we're late every day. So it was really just about like, okay, what's the boundary? What boundary was crossed that I didn't realize I hadn't set a boundary for? And that's really what it boils down to for me. When I get angry, it's because something in my field, a boundary was crossed that I didn't know was a boundary. So now I have to set the boundary and then I can move forward. So the anger for me has become a big, important messenger. And in a lot of ways has become my friend because a lot of times I don't even realize the boundary until the anger shows up. And so I'm trying to use anger as my friend and as my messenger. And that's very sacral chakra. Michelle and Julia both, all three of us are doing a chakra embodiment program right now, and we're in the month of the sacral chakra. So again, this is all very sacral chakra. This is very much so connected to these fears and these doubts, these things that we store in our womb and our energetic centers that keep kind of spiraling out. So let me share the screen. I know I always struggle with this. I'm going to get better about this. Ha ha ha. Let's see.
Yes, Paige, now that you were talking about that anger thing,
Yes.
what it was saying in this, the hurt makes us angry. Anger is a tool. It's not the master. Anger is actually a friend. It
Mhm.
teaches us things, but we don't always look at it like that, of course, right?
It's taken me
You don't want to
about
feel it,
5
right?
years to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you're my friend? Huh. Oh, how can, yeah. It's hard to accept that concept that anger is a friend.
Yes, absolutely. Because
It's good
we're
right
told
now.
from such a young age that anger is unacceptable,
Mhm.
especially as kids. No, 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 you don't.
Right.
Right. So then we go and we freeze and we don't allow ourselves to explain that and communicate that with other people. I will say that we're getting better. I think kids are getting better and better about feeling their emotions. Maybe the pendulum's gone a little bit too much the other way, honestly. But we're figuring it out because people are realizing how important anger is, how important emotions are and how important it is to trust our feelings.
The son you just saw, Paige,
Yes.
he says, Mom, anger does fuel me. It helps me to get things done. And that's exactly what he says in the book. But at the same time, he says, I don't attach the emotion to it. You're the one that attaches the emotion to it. So you
Yep.
get all emotional about the reaction that you have to my anger when I don't feel like it. I don't feel that way about it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah.
So that
I
always
think
confused me.
anger is a fuel in a lot of ways because um it really I- sometimes I've been known to not be able to get anything done until I get angry about how dirty the dishes are. And then I can get up and get the dishes done because I'm mad at everybody else for not doing the dishes. So the thing I think about more than anything is just that we need to forgive ourselves a little bit. I mean, the fact that we get upset over the dirty dishes isn't the end of the world. It's really, just an aspect of feeling life and moving through life and being able to understand where we are and what our responsibilities are and how we can move forward. Week 3, I did not really get to an artist date this week in terms of the check-in. I did go shopping. a little bit by myself. I kind of walked around a store, which was nice. I bought a couple things, you know, little trinkets for Easter, which were fun, but it wasn't quite an artist date. Now, Julia, you said you went to a museum, right? But you went with someone.
Yeah.
So we were kind of talking about, you know, giving yourself permission to not beat yourself up. If you do something cool like Julia did, and you're going to a museum with someone, don't beat yourself up for not doing it right. I think that we have to stop doing that to ourselves, but figure out how you can take 20 minutes while you're at the museum. They're just by yourself. Like, oh, hey, I'm going to walk around a little bit by myself, you know, go to the concession stand and get that. I did go to I did go to a local coffee shop and I got myself a little matcha tea and I sat there and enjoyed it. So I did a couple little things that were like that. And it's funny now that I'm thinking about it. I did, you know, that absolutely counts, but it's, you know, it wasn't in my mind when I was thinking about it, it wasn't good enough because it wasn't fancy or, you know, cool to share. So give ourselves a little bit of credit in terms of where we are and what we're doing. I'm so honored to be in circle with you guys. I do want to make sure I mention before we go too much further that we are so blessed right now to be doing this on the equinox, the spring equinox. So we're in the middle of this really intense energetic to be holding a sacred circle, to be able to put our ideas out, to be able to really connect in, to set the intentions from between now and the next equinox. We're in the eclipse season. So intention and manifestation setting is a really important time. So really allow yourself to, you know, look at the artist way and look at the basic principles and look what we're doing and allow yourself to connect in. And you know, we were talking earlier about everybody knows something's going on energetically, even if they don't really know what's going on. um, how did you guys, Michelle, how did you do on the morning pages? Did you do good?
I did excellent on the morning pages every
Nice.
day. I've really made that a commitment.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of myself for that. I mean, I am at my grandkid, you know, I'm in Florida right now, but I still have done it. So, I've had a little more interruptions than I usually do. So, but at least it got done. I did the artist date because I took a bike ride by myself. I took a walk
Ooh,
by myself
nice.
down here, so that was good. And I was consciously, like you're saying, aware that, oh, this counts as my artist date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I did some of the growth tasks because they ask you questions about your
Mm-hmm.
childhood, favorite toy, and this and that and the other thing.
Yep.
So I did do that. Not as much. They did have a lot of homework this week, so I didn't cover as much ground as I would like to. But I feel like if I'm doing one thing and I'm actually making a habit of the morning ritual, then I'm I'm happy with myself. If I can
Yeah.
incorporate that into my life, and if that's all I get out of it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, with any healing program, whatever it is, and I know Michelle's doing a bunch of programs right now. We've got the chakra embodiment, we've got this. You're doing another class with Shakti and a couple
Mhm.
others. So you're doing a lot of different programs. So all of this information, it's like a seed. You're planting it. You can always go back to it later, but you know, take the seed that really connects with you for right now and just honor that. Don't worry about the rest. Like I always say, it's about intention. It's not about perfection. Um, I I had a couple really beautiful magical moments of synchronicity this week. One that happened for me was, you know, in the homework they said to reach out to someone that, you know, was a cheerleader, and I reached out to my middle school best friend. Her name was Jill, and like I'm the godmother to her daughter when she got pregnant when we were in high school and I was her doula. Like I went through the whole process with her and she was just so wonderful and she was such a good friend and she always supported me and she always made me feel like a really amazing, important person, even before I saw that in myself. And so I just kind of reached out. I was like, hey, on Facebook, I was like, hey, Jill, how have you been? I've been thinking about you a lot lately. And so she and I started connecting and talking. And one of the funny things that she shared with me is she sent me this picture in Facebook. She's like, do you remember this? And it was this painting. I'll try to share it in our What's Group app so we can look at it. But it's this really odd little painting with like squares and triangles and steps and ladders. I mean, it's got lots of colors, nothing great. But I remember looking at it being like, I vaguely remember that. And then I wrote back, I'm like, I did that. And she was like, yeah, you did. Do you remember? And I was like, no, but please share the story with me. I don't remember. So she told me this story about how when we were little, we were hanging out and she said, let's paint. And I said, I'm not an artist. I can't paint. And she said, yes, you are, Paige. You can do it. So we sat and we painted. And I said, well, and I was like really stunted. I was like, well, I don't know what color to do. And I was getting all upset. And she was like, just do all the colors. And so, so she saved it because at the end I said, oh, I am an artist. And she said, yes, you are. And she'd saved that all these years. And then for her to bring this up and show that to me during the artist way, I just thought was so amazing because, think about it. If she hadn't been my cheerleader in 6th grade, would I be the artist Paige that I am now? Because I consider myself an artist now. I mean, I'm not the best painter or visual artist, but I'm an artist in acting and singing and all these other mediums. But if I hadn't gotten through that hurdle, who would I be? And it was just a really beautiful synchronicity and a really beautiful reminder that, to use all the colors, to have fun, to be an artist. And so that was a very touching little moment for me in terms of, yeah, I'm on the right path. This is good. Anybody else have a story? I'm raising my eyebrows. No? All right. Let's see. So week 3, so the affirmations, I've been using the affirmations a lot. I kind of keep coming back to as I create and listen, I will be led. That one's been really important for me this week because I don't really know what I want, and that's the thing, like in terms of manifestation, I'm really good at manifesting when I know what I want, but I'm not always clear on what I want. And so that affirmation of as I create and listen, I will be led has really, and one of the tasks that we were doing was to do it like a right brained activity. And I was on the treadmill for like an hour and I wasn't doing anything. I was on my phone. I was literally just walking on the treadmill. And then I kept getting all these really fun ideas of like, oh, you should do this. And like a lot of them were about singing. Like I was thinking a lot about singing and thinking a lot about music. And I was thinking a lot about improv and theater. And the treadmill next to me, this woman comes up to the treadmill and she starts talking. And she's talking to the person next to her. And I don't have headphones on. And she's talking about producing or writing a Hallmark movie. And I keep thinking my career in acting is over because I moved to New Hampshire. Like I blew it, right? It's done. And then there's this woman, and then she's talking and she's like, oh yeah, we're writing this Hallmark movie and this guy's talking. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there are people in Keene, New Hampshire who are producing and writing Hallmark movies. And then I started thinking, I'm like, well, who's to say it has to be done? Why does my dream have to be over just because I moved to New Hampshire? And it was good. It really reminded me a lot of those kind of moments that, she says this over and over in this book. It's like, it doesn't have to be over, just find ways to connect into your dreams. So I reached out to the local theater company and I was like, hey, what are you guys doing? So just little things like that, because I can still do community theater. I can still find ways to create and direct and produce. For me, the detective work is always fun because I always get a little surprised by the things that pop up. My favorite childhood toy was this doll named India. And I desperately want to go to India. Like my whole life, apparently, I've wanted to go to India. And I was like, I forgot about her. She was this this doll. She was big. I remember, I mean, she probably wasn't that big, but to me, she felt huge compared to my little, like, 4-year-old self. She was probably like half of that size. And she was missing one hand. And I remember I stuffed her hand with a sock and had like a sock over her head because the one hand fell off. But I named her India. And I realized as I was doing this, I was like, still have this dream. I want to go to India. And so that kind of it's funny, these little things that pop up when you do these kind of detective works. Like if it weren't too late, I'd act. I still love acting. I would love to be on a TV show. I would love to be on Broadway. Like these were my dreams when I was in middle school. When I was hanging out with Jill, those were my secret dreams. I wanted to be a dancer and I wanted to be on Broadway. Even though I didn't think I could sing and I didn't think I could dance and I didn't think I could paint, Jill, other cheerleaders reminded me, so I could act. I had fun and I did that, my all through middle school and high school. And so it was kind of like a middle school field trip for me this week. I did a lot of like middle school recollection and like talking to my middle school best friend and um you know just thinking about how I did a lot of really cool things when I was young because I wasn't afraid to try new things. Did anybody have anything to share about their detective work, or if you did any detective work?
I did those, Paige. I mean, I skipped a couple, but you know,
Michelle, stop beating yourself up. Will you
I
please
skipped
stop
a
that?
couple. Well, it was like my favorite childhood toy was Matchbox cars. My favorite
Hmm.
game was Toss Across. You remember that Toss Across? And you used to throw the bean bags. And you
Oh,
would like
yeah.
so I did enjoy doing that too. Um, but there's also another exercise after this was about your bedroom. It's after,
Oh, the childhood bedroom one.
and
Yes.
I really struggled with that because that kind of brought up some bad memories for me
Mm.
because I was punished all the time. And I
Oh,
used to
so you
call
were
like,
sent to your room when you were bad.
yes, and I used to call it
Ah,
the cell block.
oh,
So it was like,
yep.
I remembered that and I was like, well, what can I think of that was good about it? And it was like, well, my bed was an extra long twin and it was really cool. And like when I laid in the crack, it was nice and cool when you lay in the crack of your bed in the wall. Like I remember that feeling of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, I remember something good. But for the most part, it was like, eh, I
Well,
should
maybe
have
you
done
need to get a Tonka truck and a Matchbox car and just kind of um allow yourself to be in your room for pleasure, you know,
that.
now, you're not there. And it's funny because you do a lot of your sacred work in your room, don't you?
Yeah, it says is that
So
extra room.
so your room kind of has been a place where you go to be by yourself. That's something that still lives.
Yeah, because because it asked you later, what do you like about the room you're in now
Mm-hmm.
as compared to your childhood room?
Yep, yep.
So I would said that same thing. I have that extension off my bedroom that's on glass. So
I had a really cool cubby in my room. Like my bed was down here, and then at the foot of my bed there was like a little stereo, and above it there was this little cubby that was like this little nook. And I used to I used to hide stuff in there, and I used to put my books in there. I love nooks and crannies. I wish I had more. That was what I kind of remembered too. But Ash, someone's here. Hold on. Doo-doo-doo. I I I drew my childhood room. I kind of just sketched it out because it was kind of fun to think about going up the stairs and seeing where everything was and kind of having those memories back. It just brings back so many memories. Like Michelle said, you spent so much of your childhood in your room. Like I know I did. It really brought back a lot of those good little memories of quiet moments and um you know, like Michelle said, probably I didn't have a door on my room. My mom didn't punish me to my room because there was no door. There was no point. We didn't have doors. How about looking at your habits? Has anyone had any feedback about that? Ashley, welcome to the week 3. We're just checking in. How did your week go? Oh, I won't make you unmute in case you're doing something else.
Hold on. I couldn't figure out how to unmute it. Hold on.
Oh yeah,
But I
hello.
got it. Hi. I had a super busy last couple of weeks. I'm behind on reading, but like was catching up and stuff. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to be here to be in the call, but I don't necessarily know if I'll have input. And I'm eating dinner right now, so I'm gonna keep my video off.
Okay, I'm so happy you came. And yes, just be here in the circle. Even if you don't do all the readings, we're just talking, we've got like a guideline for the conversation, but this is about talking and sharing. This week, Ashley, for me, in the synopsis, it says this week you may be dealing with unaccustomed bursts of energy and emotions like anger and grief. And I know for me, that came up. I had a lot.
Yeah, lots been coming up.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of information with like the full moon and the equinox. So, you know, we're all feeling it, I think is the thing. For me, the childhood stuff really got me thinking about middle school, and I reached out to an old middle school friend. And, the friend is, I think, the spider wheel that we did last week. Do you remember that one? The tarantula, the little wheel about your life. I did that, and friends is like non-existent for me. Like I don't really have a lot of friends. I do because I work a lot. I have my family, and I don't really have a lot of, social time. It's also not really a priority for me. It never really has been. I get tired around other people really easily, and then I need breaks. After I have social time, I need to build in time to have me time to quiet, or else I get over sensory overload. So I'm still working on finding people I can hang out with that don't exhaust me. I haven't quite been there. I will say I ran into a couple people, which was nice to kind of chit chat, but this week kind of reminded me of my older friends, those friends in middle school and high school that really supported you. I spoke to my high school best friend. I spoke to my middle school best friend. They weren't the same person. So I was kind of reaching out to those people who became big anchors for me. And I think that it's really important as we're artists, as we're figuring out who we are, to connect with people that support us. You know what I mean? Like, just having a circle like this to come in and talk about our week and talk about our days and talk about our feelings, where no one's going to get weird at me if I said I lost my temper, right? Like it's life, where we don't have to hide in the shadows. We don't have to put on masks for each other in a sacred circle like this. So that's good. And that's really, really good. One of the things that came in for me for this week with the inner compass, is for me, it was, I've kind of been thinking about Pilates a lot, and I do yoga, and, my friend Mandy, who's in this group, she might be watching the replay, has been telling me for a long time now that I should look into Pilates, because she got really into yoga and then she got really into Pilates, and I'm kind of like meh on both. I'm like, okay. And I ended up finding a Pilates studio. I just stumbled upon it, like literally walked into it and wasn't expecting it today, and talked to the owner for a while. And it was really a good conversation. I learned that I'd made a lot of assumptions that weren't necessarily the case. And it's an interesting challenge. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And synchronicity and things that are kind of lining up. I thought that was really good. I I haven't this funny when she was talking about scrubbing, like how is a like an activity. And I've been rewatching Desperate Housewives. There's the character who does like all the cleaning all the time when she gets like stressed, or all the time. And I was like, wow, I wish I kind of had that trait. Like, if I wish. So I tried to do it. I tried to like clean my kitchen as a right brain activity, and I was like, I need the music. I need to focus. Like I'm not that's not a meditative practice for me. So my inner compass is no scrubbing. That's one thing I learned this week. um oh, that was an interesting exercise. The 5 people you admire and then that you secretly admire. uh I the people I admire were all very spiritual, and the people I secretly admire were all badasses. And I was like, oh, I apparently want to be a little bit more of a badass. That's interesting. Because, I'm a spiritual teacher. So that's my should. I should want to talk to these people. I should want to admire them. But the people that I'm really admiring secretly are the people that are like just vomiting their truth on the face and doing their own thing. Like, you know, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, I've got a little bit more of a shadow self that I need to work through. Find a little bit more ways to be a badass. Anybody else do this one? It's fun to do if you are. I thought for me, it kind of hit home in terms of like, wow, Paige, you've got some other things to do.
I couldn't think of people that I secretly admire. I don't know, like the list didn't really differentiate for me.
Oh, well, that's good. So then you're in balance.
Maybe, or I don't know. It's like just writing it in a journal, like I don't know.
Well,
No secrets.
I think the thing like we certainly have people like ideals of people like friends and things like that of who you want who you want
Yeah.
to you want to do, and then there's like the people that I kind of admire are the people that just like really are nonconformist and don't care about anything. Like there's just something really interesting to watch someone that is truly balls to the wall, doesn't care about anything. It's because it's like, I was a little bit like that when I was in high school. I mean, I went to my prom as a goth girl with like did my hair like little spikes, and I took a school bus to the prom. Like I was a little bit like that. And it's as a proper mom, I've kind of dimmed that out a little bit, right? Like I was always the weird kid. I wore polyester pants and I had, I was weird as a theater kid. That's who I was. That was part of the identity that I had, which I felt really good about. But I've become very normal lately. So I was trying to think I was like, well, I gotta spice things up a little bit. What can I do to be a little bit more, sassy? So actually I told you guys I went to the store, right? So I bought some things that I wouldn't normally buy. Then I was like, okay, well, why not? Why don't I buy some fun things to wear? I bought a pair of shoes that were sparkly. That I was like, I can wear them and I wore them at the bank today. They're like all rhinestoned encrusted. And everybody commented on my shoes. And I was like, wow, look at that. Look at me. Bringing a little bit of bling to the world. So that was kind of fun. I'm really close and I'm surprised. I got I'm almost done with my 1 subject notebook, the little binder that I got for the morning pages. I'm really surprised that I'm almost done because those 3 pages they fill up. They go really fast. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I'm going to have to get a new notebook soon. Now, next week is recovering a sense of integrity. So next week, she says, next week you may find a grappling with changing self-definition. The essays, tasks, and exercises are designed to catapult you into productive introspection and integration of new self-awareness. This may be both very difficult and extremely exciting for you. So that's kind of interesting for next week. Does anybody have anything to share about this week or whatever week you're in, how you're feeling with the program, anything like that, just to touch in and share with the group? Yeah, go, Michelle.
I'm just curious because I was just thinking about this. So it was recovering a sense of power. And it's like,
Mhm.
did I really do that during this week? How is this really applicable to like the application of everything? Is it really giving me a sense of power? Like I was just thinking about that. I'm curious. And I'm like, maybe at the end of these 12 weeks, is there like, a self-check or something that brings everything together for us?
Well, I think we should probably meet one time at week 12. I mean, week 12 is what? Um,
So that's what I was curious about. So I was just kind of like, am I really grasping the sense of power and these exercises? Of course, I'm not doing, like you're saying, 100%. Sometimes you're totally into it, other times you may not be.
yeah.
Um, but if I did give it 110%, would I really be further along? A lot further along recovering these senses of ourselves,
Well,
That's
I
my
think that with any healing journey that we go on, right? There's markers and there's goals and intentions for each week. Some of us are going to hit those marks, some of us are not. So you might hit the power week in week 12 or in week next week. It's just really about the intention, and it kind of it's like planting a flower garden. If you've got a flower garden and you're doing 12 weeks, you've got a whole bunch of different seed packets that you can plant in that week. And maybe you plant them all, but you're going to have to weed some of them eventually, because for the best ones to grow, they need the space. So you plant the seeds that work, and you'll weed the ones that don't work for you. And the biggest thing is just with anything, I think, is to not judge, is to allow yourself to just go through the process. And if it's not perfect, or if you're not hitting, what someone else experienced. So, I experienced some anger this week. Big surprise. I experience anger a lot. It's not, I'm a Leo. 5 houses are in Leo. I've got a lot of emotion. I come from a big family. We expressed ourselves loud. Like, this is kind of my go-to. I'm not a pipsqueak. You know what I mean? So if you didn't experience anger or deep emotions this week, that's okay. That might not be how you process your feelings and emotions. I am an emotional person. I feel deeply. I feel real big joy. I feel real big, like that's just kind of who I am. And figuring out how to live with that has been one of my challenges in this life, right? Being big and being able to figure out how to be big in different scenarios, and and also to find that balance has been what I've been seeking for the balance in my life. So, Michelle, don't worry about stuff like that. Just especially because you're doing so much healing on your own. You've got 4 different classes, I think, that you're doing now. So in some beautiful way, you're planting this beautiful master garden with 3 different gardens on the side, right? So you're going to have some overlapping flowers in those gardens. You're going to put them together, and then you're going to make a beautiful bouquet at the end of the 12 or 24 weeks, at the end of all your classes. And you'll take what works for you, and the rest you won't. And the great thing about a book like this, you can come back to it. Like Ashley said, oh, I'm not quite on this week. That's fine. Meet where you are. When we to come together, we support each other wherever we are, whether we're in week 1 just starting, or whether, we're on the week that we're on, because we're all moving through it. We're all we're doing the work. And we're doing the work in the context of our life. And for each and every one of us, it's completely different. We all have our own struggles and our own routines and our own feelings and our own emotions and our own judgments and our own critiques and our own baggage. And so we're going to experience everything a little bit differently, but we can just connect to each other. Yeah, Julia, go ahead.
saying bye to Michelle.
Bye, Michelle. Oh, you're going? All right.
Yes, but definitely feel what you're saying. I think this week was more so just planting the seeds and realizations of what I want to do in the coming weeks.
Mhm.
And also, yeah, just thinking back on the childhood bedroom and just like the memories that that brings up. There was the one thing, I forget if it was in the sacral chakra course or if it was in Artist Way or both, but it
Mhm.
mentioned hula hooping. And so that's on my agenda.
Oh my God. Now that you say that, I want a hula hoop. Yes, I used to
Right?
love hula hooping. And it's
Yeah.
totally sacral chakra and it's totally inner child. So yes
Yeah.
to all of that for both. I don't know which.
Right. Just gotta find a hula hoop. So I started looking, but I'm also like, maybe I'm gonna come across one. So we'll
And you
see.
can make one
Mm,
if you get PCV piping and duct tape, you can do it.
not a bad idea. Yeah.
They're
Could be a
probably going to be
craft.
I cannot hula hoop with the store-bought hula hoops. I have tried. They're too
Yeah.
light, but you get me a good big PCV pipe hula hoop, I could still rock that thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I want to make sure it's like a good, it feels good, not
Yep.
like,
There are a couple really good artists on Etsy
mm,
that you can buy. The school I used to work at, we used to buy hula hoops. And you can buy if you'd like go on Etsy, there's some people who hand make them. They're
mm,
like circus trained. They're circus style. They're circus
mm,
good. So if you want to go and find some like I wouldn't recommend the Walmarts or the Targets. Those hula
yeah,
hoops are they don't cut it. Not in
yeah,
as an adult. So find one for me and share because that sounds
yeah. I'll let you
awesome.
know if I find a good one.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So let's see. I think that's pretty much connecting to now the week this week. What was it again? Let me look it up. It was recovering a sense of power. Was that what this one was? Week 5, week 4. Week 3 was recovering a sense of power. So let's do a quick little meditation before we sign off, just so that way, like Michelle said, she wasn't really feeling in her power this week. So that's okay. But as an artist, let's think about this. How can we connect in to our power? How can we use our childhood? How can we use those memories? How can we let them weave the fabric of our life to help us step more into our light and step more into our power? Like I was saying, for me, part of this journey this week has been kind of remembering that inner teenager that was really sassy, kind of, connecting a little bit to her and kind of, that's an aspect of power, right? Nonconformity, that's an aspect of power. That's being able to stand in your truth. So, um, those are all parts of the fabric of who I am kind of coming back in together. So let's just take a moment and let's just connect into the circle, to the sacred circle of this group, both here live and in the replay. And just remember that we are creating and weaving a sacred circle for all of us to be together and to support each other. And not only in this artist way, but also in our own creative and healing journeys, being able to find a space to talk, to share, and to listen, to reconnect to ourselves and to each other. So with each breath, just allow yourself to slowly acknowledge the breath, notice the breath, and welcome the breath moving through you, in through your nose and out through your mouth, just allowing yourself to really feel that connection. And let's just add that affirmation in recovering a sense of power. Let's just breathe that energy in. Breathing in a sense of power and breathing out a sense of power. Breathing in light, breathing out light. Breathing in creativity, breathing out creativity. Breathing in and welcoming our inner child, our inner teenager, our inner wild 20-year-old. Just breathing that energy in and welcoming all the aspects of who we are and who we've been. Just welcoming every phase of our life, every aspect, every moon, every sun, every phase. Just breathing that, the fabric of that energy back in and feeling that energy moving into the space of your womb. Let's really connect this into the sacral chakra, because the sacral chakra is so much about the inner artist and connecting in. And for those of you that are in my chakra embodiment class, this is the sacral chakra month. So we'll yes and that, and allow ourselves to feel that aspect moving in and activating the space below our belly button and that beautiful womb space, the sacred womb, allowing us to breathe in beauty and love, creativity, joy, laughter. Rebellion is coming up. Rebellion is play, rebellion is joy, and allowing ourselves to feel powerful in our light. Just breathing that energy and allow that energy to start radiating from your womb, allowing us to feel a spiral moving from the hara, moving from the womb center, allowing this energy to take that which no longer serves, those assumptions, those conclusions, those storylines, those presumptions that we have made or assumed about ourselves and our life and our capabilities, just allowing that energy to kind of spiral out. And as it spirals out, feel yourself almost blossoming like a beautiful flower. Like a beautiful flower in that garden that we are planting, and allowing yourself to bloom like the lotus, allowing yourself to open your petals, to unfurl, to feel the beauty of the sun on your face, to be able to feel the petals moving out and unfurling, to feel the cool dew of the morning air collecting on the petals, the sensations of the air moving past your petals, and being able to see the reflection of your beauty, of your splendor, of your power, of your sovereignty in the water around you, allowing yourself to shine. And in this, feel the sun above you, this beautiful, radiant central sun shining down below. And feel that activating within you all of the feelings of worthiness that you might have forgotten. Allowing yourself to feel worthy of the air and worthy of the sun and worthy of the water and worthy of the air and worthy of your body and worthy of the beauty that you carry within you. Just allowing yourself to bask in the sunlight and the warmth of the sun, and allowing that to activate within you cellular codes within you, and allowing that information to move down through the roots of the lotus, down through the water, down deep to the bottoms of that water, to the murky water, and then also up like the dew evaporating in the sunlight, moving up through the sky, through the clouds, through the beautiful, pristine, gorgeous world above you. And just feel that energy moving down below and up above and circulating all around you. And feel yourself in this beautiful basking, in this huge openness, allowing yourself to breathe in and recover your sense of light, the light that you came here to create. And feel this energy moving from your root chakra and your sacral chakra, moving up to your solar plexus. This is your I am center. This is your center of confidence. This is your center of power, of will. And allow this energy moving energetically up through your body and activating this I am center, this will, this power, this confidence, and just letting that light shine all around you from the center of who you are. Just allowing your light to fill the room and fill the house and fill the building and fill the town and fill the world and fill the whole entire cosmos, reaching right up back to that beautiful great central sun, seeing yourself as a reflection of that sun with you and through you. And just breathe in and bask in that light that is you, that light that is with you. Allowing yourself to bask in that confidence, allowing yourself to believe in yourself enough to speak your authentic truth and speak your authentic self and shine your light and feel all of the emotions with grace and ease and joy and love. Just feel yourself being able to be open enough to receive the light of the great central sun, and as well to shine your light equally as vibrant. Three beautiful deep breaths to activate this energy within you, integrating it into every cell, every atom. Anchoring this light in for the now moment and for every moment afterwards, allowing this energy to be put on automatic, to be replayed for you every minute until there is enough of a shift in your fifth dimensional reality to be seen, felt, known, and heard in your physical reality. How amazing does it feel to shine your light? How amazing does it feel to recover your sense of power? How amazing does it feel to recover your sense of self? How amazing does it feel to shine your light? And in this beautiful, expanded state, just take a moment to know that this energy is with you always, and it is yours to shine. But this light right now is so wide. Allow it to move back in and fold gently inside of you so it is contained in this beautiful embodiment of your physical self, and allow your body to feel that energy and that light shining out, but still being able to walk within and move within your light and your body this moment and every moment, anchoring that light in within you right now as you go about your world in the next week and weeks, that this energy will stay within you. And now with a beautiful breath in and out, just allow yourself to come back into your body, wiggle your fingers and your toes, and just allow yourself to come back now, feeling like the beautiful light that you are. Yay! Well, that being said, we are ready for week 4 next week. Come wherever you are, Ashley, wherever you are. I look forward to seeing you all for next week. I will post the replay by Sunday up in the course. Feel free to bring your friends. Anyone can start at week 1 and still join the circles. No worries. They'll just kind of have a little sneak peek at the weeks ahead, right, Ashley? All right. Well, it's been my honor and blessings. Does anybody have anything else to share before we say goodnight?
So I'll just thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye.
Have a good night.
You too. Good night.
Bye.